All right. So I know that you guys in preparation for the event, you were there several days before Super Battle Opera. It gave
Yeah.
you a chance to train at different locations and enter different events that were going on. So why don't you kind of talk about where you went, what arcades and stuff like that?
All right. Well, we first started off at Hay. The plan was Damned I would meet us in the morning. They opened at 10 o'clock, so you'd show up around 10:30 or 11. Uh, Fred and I would already have gotten breakfast by then because Damned I doesn't eat in the morning. So we would go to Hay, play for a few hours, then get lunch, then come back, play. Unless, we were going sightseeing, which we did some of, so it was good. But for the first couple of days, we spent most of our time at Hay Arcade and try to level up there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the that's an Akihabara. It's the 10 yen. That's like it's a really
Yeah, it's like a penny to play, basically.
yeah, it's a great location because it's the cheapest place to play Super Turbo at, and there's um, how was the competition? Like, was there not by skill wise, but like, was there always people to play? Like, was there constant
Yeah,
streaming
there
people
was
coming in?
always people to play.
Right.
They were, I guess, in Japan considered like average level, but they were really really strong. So what would happen was they were head-to-head caps. So Damn and I would be on one side. Brent Immortal hadn't gotten there yet, so
Hmm.
we'd be on one side, and then there'd be like five Japanese players on the other. We were pretty much like just put in our own corner, and then they would
Right.
fight us. So for the first couple of days, I just felt like my inputs were off, and I don't want to blame jet lag. That was a part of it, but even for Damn he was missing stuff, and we pretty much described it as whatever they do works and whatever we do doesn't work. It just felt like we were playing a completely different game, and it's pretty much what you and Ganel and Damned had been telling me, that when you get to Japan, it really opens up your eyes on how the game really is played.
Mm.
So, and these guys, they use multiple characters, and they were pretty good with all of them. But one thing I realized was they had all played the same. So if they all played Ryu, they would all play like X copy each other, completely
Right.
same style. That I found weird. So I
Hmm.
guess they learned off of each other, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. I mean, that's where they all came up to in the same place. Maybe a lot of them the same time. And play similarly.
yeah.
Um,
So so
yeah,
for
it's
the
definitely like
first
it's definitely like you show up and here you realize, oh, this is where the bar is now, and I have to kind of bring myself to that point,
yeah,
get
because
myself to that level.
playing them kind of makes it forces you to make no mistakes. If you land a jump roundhouse, you have to finish the combo. If you drop the combo, you lost the match. I mean, even if you win the round, it's like you should have won it with that hit confirmed combo. You shouldn't
Hmm.
drop anything because the top guys, they won't drop it. Even these guys, they wouldn't drop combos. So for the first 2 days or so, Damn and I, we would just get owned. Really, I don't want to say it like that, but we were losing. And
You're
then
going through the
yeah,
adjustment period.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'll say some of it was jet lag, but other parts it was just our game wasn't top notch then. Like we were letting them get away with stuff, like if
Hmm.
they ever did really make any mistakes, but when we made mistakes, they punished it hard, like full punishes. So we kind of had to force ourselves to play excellent at all times.
How many days did it take you to start really getting in the groove to the point where like, all right, now I'm rolling, now I can play.
I guess maybe like 3 days or so, because that's when I met you Vega, and after that I'm like, all right, I just met this guy. I can't drop combos anymore. I can't mess up.
And
He's
like you Vega's pretty much the guy that you tried to you learned a lot off his videos. That
yeah,
was like the guy,
yeah. I mean, to me, he's probably like top five on the planet.
right?
It's it's just dictator. He has so many bad matchups with this guy. His reaction is just so sharp, and that's what the Japanese had over us. I feel like it wasn't so much the matchup experience, but it was their ability to react in tight
Hmm.
situations. They're able to get out of corners, and stuff like
Right.
that. So, uh, yeah, after we met at GameSpot versus, I told myself, all right, I can't can't let them down. I gotta level up. And then after that, when we went to Hay, both Damdai and I, we were just winning streak for a while.
Like now it's on. All right, so you just mentioned GameSpot Versus. So like you said, you went to Hay. What are the other places that you went to, and like what was your impressions of not so much like you spoke about the gameplay, not so much the gameplay, but of just like the buildings, of just the arcades
Oh God.
themselves.
All right. Well, Hay was a couple of floors. I guess it's like three floors. They had a million arcades in there, and then they had their 10 yen. They have a 10 yen Super Turbo arcade, the head to head, and then they have like five head to head Hyper Street Fighters, and a lot of guys were playing Hyper Street Fighter for 100 yen.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, so I kind of found that odd. I'm like, they should just have more 10 yen ST caps, but I guess they're making more money off 100 yen Hyper Street Fighter. So, um, yeah, I
You
mean,
went to Mikado.
yeah. Well, first on Tuesday was when they had the GameSpot versus battle, so we went there
All right,
first.
why don't you like kind of explain what that is to people?
All right, at GameSpot versus, they have two captains choose teams. I think how it's decided was Nikaiten, who runs the place, he has a deck of cards. You're supposed to pick a card, and the Joker, whoever gets a Joker, is a captain. And then they decide who they want on their team. Like,
Wow, so
well,
it's like schoolyard dodgeball. Like you pick your team.
yeah,
Wow.
they say East versus West, but it has nothing to do with where you're from. It's more like
Right.
one player versus two players. So when you come in, you pay, I think, uh, it was either 300 yen or 800 yen, something dirt cheap to play the top guys for that much, whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, and then you sign your name and which character you're using before the event, and then when the captains are chosen, they pick who they want on their team one by one, and then they decide on the order
Wow.
that they want to send them out.
How did
So,
they choose? Like, how did you guys do as far as being chosen? Was it like was it like you were chosen randomly, or like first or last, or what?
well, the first time we kind of had no say. I guess we didn't really know how the system worked, and
Hmm.
Fred was kind of doing the whole thing for us. Like he
Hmm.
wrote our names and who we were using, and he talked to Nikaiten. So, uh, I was on the same side as Damdai, which was I think player one, and player two was Fred and Immortal. Immortal had arrived that day on Tuesday, so he was a bit jet lagged, but he was down to play. So they sent him out first. He fought Azalea's Guile, and he lost the match, but I don't blame him because the way that we played our first night there was it was just
Yeah.
so poor. But he caught up really fast, and
Right.
I think Immortal did well in Japan.
Yeah, he did. Yes.
But yeah. So well, the second week that we went, they kind of asked for our consent. Where do you want to go? Do you want to be second or fifth or whatever? Usually they'll put their grandmasters at the end. Like Kurahashi's always at the
Wow.
end of everything because well he hadn't shown up, but just an example that
Yeah.
there's always a given. This guy will always be at the bottom. These guys will always be at the top, and then they were kind of asking us where we wanted to be. So I said, put me wherever it's okay.
Hmm.
And
That's cool because there's actually footage of you guys, playing these matches.
yeah,
Did you watch the matches back?
yeah, I did. Fred did amazing the first week with
Yeah.
Blanca. He got like 4 wins, including he beat me even.
Wow.
Yeah, it sucked
All right. So
that
that was
I had to fight him, but
yeah. So that was the GameSpot versus, and then on Wednesdays, I assume you went to Mikado.
yeah. So Wednesday Mikado for 500 yen, which is like $5, you could say. Um, you get there, you give Matsun your 500 yen, and he gives you a badge. So you just wear it, and there are about 10 head-to-head cabs set up, maybe more, of Super Turbo, and you could just play anyone, whatever. This is how it goes.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you this: who was like the first badass player that you played, like a big name that you knew? Who was like the first dude in Japan that you played?
Uh, hmm. I think it's Yoshimura when he showed up at Hay. I think he showed up at Hay before. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That must have been like Monday night. He showed up at Hay, and he plays Dallas, so I'm like, I'll beat him, no problem. But because I fought you forever, so I'm like, I'll beat any Dallas in Japan, no problem. I mean, this guy was so good, and it was just his speed. These the Japanese's ability to just react so much faster. That and jet lag stuff. So I would get rounds off him and come close to winning, but in the end he would win. So we played about 5 games. Eventually, Damdai took him off with Old Hawk, and then Yoshimura just went home or did what. But he was the first like named Japanese guy that we played.
Okay.
Uh,
Who are some of the other guys you played?
uh, Kurahashi, Uvega, Shiki, uh, hmm, Aoki,
Matson?
Cyclone. Yeah, I played Matsun a couple of times.
Hmm.
Uh, God, I can't remember. I don't know why I can't remember now, but like,
I think
I
they're
guess I guess if you name them, I could just tell you yes or no.
yeah. What was your impressions playing these guys? Was it like just unbelievable?
Well, I guess you watch these videos of them for years, and you know what they look like, and you know what colors they use. So when you're in a match against this guy, it's head to head. You can't see his face, but you see the color, and you already know their style. It's pretty weird playing that. It's like you're replaying a video of something that you've already seen, but it's so much harder because now you have to be the other player, performing. So
Right.
it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool that experience, seeing it like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. When I was there, I was on one side of the cab, and then all of a sudden this guy on the other side picked Guile, and there was like a murmur throughout the arcade, and it was like Kurahashi, Kurahashi, like I kept hearing it, and then like just showed up, and then it was like I was like holy shit, I'm playing him, and
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy, dude.
Yeah, I was fighting at Mikado some Ryu, and I noticed the style and I saw the color, but I didn't look to see who it was. I took a round off of him, so in between the rounds, I'm asking Fred because he was like in between both cabs on his side. So I'm like, "Who is that?" He goes, "It's Kurahashi, man." I'm like, "Oh shit!" I just beat him around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's almost harder like when you know who it is
yeah,
when you're like, oh, it's some guy, and then you can kind of you play. I don't know. It's just strange. A lot of it's mental stuff. So much of it's mental.
yeah, because there was this one point I really did a full screen walk up throw, and that I won the round with that, and I'm like, who is that? I thought it was some random guy. I'm like, how could he not stop a walk up throw? And then he goes Kurahashi, and then
Didn't expect someone to do that to him.
yeah, yeah, because I guess at the end of the walk he was gonna do a fireball, so you see the fireball animation come out, but then I threw the
Ah,
fireball, and then I won the round with
fire.
it. So then, but when I found out who it was, then mentally I was like, you know, I was like, oh shit, it's this guy. Kind of makes a difference, but
Huh.
like that made me realize the head-to-head setup makes you a stronger player because you really don't know who's on the other side. Whereas side to side, it affects how you play because you kind of know the
Mhm.
person and you can see their inputs. And
Yeah, yeah,
so the Japanese are better trained for tournaments like SBO because they fight the head-to-head setup all the time.
right. Yeah, I mean, not only that, it's you can't really even hear the game many times because the arcades are so loud. So they
Yeah.
go 100% on like just visual reaction.
Well, some visual reaction because
Yeah.
everybody's smoking in there, so half the time I'm like rubbing my eyes. I'm like shit.
So perhaps some of them actually play blinded and they're still amazing.
Like
Incredible.
Hakusei.
I was yeah, with sunglasses in a smoke-filled place.
Yeah,
I don't
and
know how
he
he could
he
see
he
anything.
must have been the toughest guy for me. That guy, his stance
Yeah,
was just
he's good.
unbelievable.
Yeah, he's very, very good. You'll have to give me some tips on what he was doing.
Yeah.
All right, so you said hey, GameSpot versus Mikado. Those are pretty much the places you did your damage
Oh,
at.
Thursday we did Nakano, which is I guess they're more lower level players. Uh, like they're not as top as Mikado players, but Uvega and Kikai and Viper guys like that will show up. So it's like even
Hmm.
though some of them are less strong, the strong guys still show up. And yeah, so we went there. I think it was 700 yen for free play. There were 3 head-to-head cabs, and then they run a short tournament. So it's about maybe 30 of us. Fred took a picture of all of us before the tournament at Nakano. So that was pretty cool. It was in a mall somewhere in a really, really small arcade. Like it's probably smaller than the room where we play at Howard's place.
Wow. Wow.
And but they have a mirror on the wall, like the whole wall, so it makes it look like it's double the size. You know, optical illusion kind of thing. Yeah.
Excuse me. So it's pretty incredible, like you said. This is in a week's time, so the game's been out for quite some time. You're able to go to a place where there's not only arcades with casual players being, filtering in and out all day. There's several tournaments going out throughout the week.
Yeah, and it's funny because I met Uvega on Tuesday at Versus, so I introduced myself. We talked a little bit about some matchups, and then Wednesday he approached us and said hi at Mikado,
Wow.
and then Thursday he approached me and said hi again at Nakano. I'm like, this guy shows up everywhere we go. But it's
Really
like,
good for you.
yeah, but it's like you know these players are dedicated. They'll enter all these things no matter the distance, and just after work, all of them in their suits and whatnot, just
Right.
just playing is pretty
It's
cool.
pretty amazing. It's almost like the game is like new.
Yeah.
The amount of play that it gets. And I talked about this when I got back, but they do these rankings of like the most played arcade games in Japan, and like ST is always in like the top five, top three sometimes, like most played arcade game, which is pretty crazy considering how many games there are and like how many new ones come out and stuff like that.
Especially where the money is, for the top players.
Yeah,
But I guess these guys they don't really do it for the money. They just do it because it's fun.
they love the game.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys got all leveled up, playing at these different places. You got your feet wet playing all these Japanese legends and other players and stuff like that. So now it's time for the big day, Tougeki 2011 Super Battle Opera, and it's kind of like taking me through, the day, like starting off like when you got on the train to like get down there.
Oh yeah. So it's the four of us: Brent, myself, Damdai. Who am I missing? No ho ho. Right, translator. So yeah. So Team USA and our translator. We were going. I forget which subway line it was. It's not important, but it was the furthest that we had to travel, or farthest we had to travel since we had gotten there. I think the train ride was about an hour and a half long to Messe, and
Yeah, something like that.
I had a mishap with the train swiping card thing, and I trapped myself in a station. So Damdai and Brent just left, and I'm like,
What?
well, I don't know. Yeah, they left to sign in, so I was in a train station, and Noah was talking to some girl, so like some foreign girl. That
That's a ridiculous story.
yeah, um, basically they were, I guess, this European couple, and they didn't know how the train system worked. And he was kind of talking them how to do it. And he goes, "Yeah, just walk together like this." And he kind of like just like grabbed her, pressed his body on her. He goes, "Yeah, just walk together like this." I don't know what the hell he was doing. So I'm like, "All right, I gotta figure this out." I talked to the guy. I'm like, I swiped through. I don't know how much money I have left on my card. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So they let me through anyway. So now it's Fred and I getting to Tokyo Game Show to go to Tougeki. The line was huge. And there's staircases and all this crap that you have to walk through. So rather than waiting online, I just flashed the Tougeki card to everyone I saw,
Hmm.
and they were pointing in a random direction. So like, go this way, go that way, go that way. You say arigato, and then uh, eventually we get to the place, and there was a table with badges, and I see the Super Turbo slips for all the players who are coming in, and that's where you have to pick up your badge to go in. That's basically your ticket.
Yeah.
So I see Yaya Sagad and Tyra and like all these slips of all the other players who hadn't arrived yet. And just outside I see Matsun and KKY and Kikai and so they all greeted us. I get my stuff. I guess Brent and Damdai are already in there.
Wow.
And then so I'm like, Fred, you should try to get in. So he asked the workers if he can get a badge as a translator. Like, oh, I'm Team USA's Team Hope's translator. Can I get in? And they said wait 10 minutes. So they
Hmm.
printed up a new badge for him that said, translator or whatever word it was, equivalent to it in Japanese, and so he
Okay.
was able to get in with that. That was pretty cool.
Let me stop you there for a second. So you said that you get to name your team for this tournament. Everyone has a different team name. You guys chose the name of Team Hope, which is
Yeah.
very pleasant. Who came up with this name? Why did you select this name?
I came up with the name, and Brent didn't really care what name we used. Damned I gave the approval. There, I don't know. The reason is pretty deep, but I'll just say that I really like the word. That
Yeah, I think it's fit.
Yeah, I think it just made most sense at the time,
Yeah.
and so we kind of stuck with that. It was a pick between that and Team Toire, which Toire means toilet in Japanese,
Yes.
but we it's because Damien and I we were studying Rosetta Stone, and the way that they say Toire, it's funny. So we're gonna do Team Toire. uh,
No, yeah, you chose the right name.
Yeah, so we stuck with Hope, and actually, I didn't even know that was the team name until much later, like later, way after it was approved. I found out reading it on SRK or wherever I read it. Damned I basically made it official without
Okay.
telling me. So I found out much later. I was pretty happy about that.
All right. So you guys were set to face the team of Kuma Doll, Dalsum player, Chai, who's a Chun-Li player, and I'd Run,
Yeah,
who's a Guile. I don't know if you know how you say that.
I did
Uh,
run, I guess. Not I.
okay.
I would run.
I would run. Say that. So you guys knew you were going to play this team before the actual match.
Yeah, you have to. Well, you don't have to, but you can buy the Tougeki booklet, which has interviews and a whole bunch of goodies, pictures of all of us. Uh, so bought that, bought a T-shirt, and in there is a bracket. Um, what I think was unfair was Team Europe, the French team. They had to go up against the last chance qualifying team, and so
Oh wow.
it's a bunch of question marks. So we don't even know who qualified yet.
Oh
So
wow.
they don't even know who to mentally prepare themselves
Right.
for the tournament. I thought that was kind of messed up, but
Right.
so yeah, so we had to fight the Kushu team.
Well, take us through like, so you guys knew who you were going to face.
Yeah.
Then you have to decide your team order, like who's going to go first on your team against them. What was the process for that, and like how did you guys decide on the order that you came up with?
Um, I always feel like I think Dictator is a good pick for a first, unless he's fighting like super counter pickable characters. But Dictator should go first because he's a make it or break it character.
Hmm.
But my reasoning was that just the night before at Mikado, those guys showed up and I was beating them. I won most of my matches against all of them, so I kind of felt confident. I'm like, let me fight this team. I think I can do well. And so we thought about it for a little while, and then we're like, yeah, that's the way to go. So
Okay. What were your impressions of just the Tougeki event? And yeah, what did you just think about the whole thing? Just the scope of the event, the production of it.
I mean, definitely the most high budget tournament I've ever been to. I haven't gone to Evo yet. I hope to go,
Hmm.
next year or whatnot. Uh, yeah, I mean, it was pretty crazy. There's a huge stage with the cabinets and, thousands of people rounding up and eating or talking. When we sat down at our seats, uh, like the seats where we sit have taped on, like the same badge that we have. There's another printed paper with our name and our character, so we know where to sit. And in front of us was Gunze, Oro-chan, and ARG. And we had met ARG and Gunze uh, at Mikado and Nakano and other places. Yeah, yeah. So we had already met them. So I finally got to meet Oro-chan. He's like super grandmaster, and
Right.
so they're sitting right in front of us, and so they talked to us and said good luck. Turns out that they're the guys who we had to face next. But
All right, hold on.
all right,
Did you
yeah.
guys have to play like? Did you have to play like early in the tournament, or did you have to like wait around a little bit?
I think we were. They were having three head-to-head cabs, I think simultaneously, so we went right away.
Oh, that's good. So,
Yeah, so I was like, I think I should go first. I don't feel any pressure. I feel confident. Let me do this. So,
All right, so
yeah.
kind of take us through the actual match.
All right. So first, I had to fight Chai's Chun-Li. I didn't fight him much in Mikado. I fought Kumadal and Idarun, who were really good too. Um, but I hadn't fought Chun-Li, so when they put him up first, I mean, we don't know who's going up first, but I just had a good idea that, maybe they'll put up a Dalsim or the Gal first, and they didn't, so they picked a Chun. I'm like, I didn't fight this guy much, and Chun is a pretty bad match, but you know, you gotta do this now. You can't change your order for that set. So I don't really remember how the rounds went. I played him the style that I would fight Chris Doyle, the way that I fought his Chun-Li for a while. So, hmm, I think the first or second round, one of them was really close. I forget. I just remember winning the match and not not really being phased out by, oh God, I'm in Tougeki. There's a million people watching. I was just like, I didn't really feel any of that. I just felt like playing, and that was it. And then yeah, I can't really remember the details of that match. I remember the details when I fought Idarun because, well, he beat me. So, so round one, I beat him, and luckily I got all that Mars practice, so I'm pretty confident with the Gal fight. Uh, round two, I had him at 0 life, like literally zero, and he's in the corner, knocked down, and I try to chip him for super. He magically jumps out, and then he made a comeback and he beat me. It's, I just lost my patience. I jumped into stuff. And I just wanted to win and get it over with. I got a little ahead of myself. But the Japanese, they don't lose their patience, so
Right.
you know, so he got me. And then round three, he won. And the next obvious choice then would be to put out Immortal rather than Damn Dive, since Claw's a better pick against Guile than Hawk. So then Immortal went up. He beat the rest of the team pretty convincingly, and that was that.
You defeated the Chun-Li,
Yeah,
and Immortal defeated the Dalsum and the Guile player.
yeah.
So why don't you take us through your next matchup? And
Uh,
it should be noted this is the second year in a row that an American team has defeated a Japanese team, in their own, on their own stage basically. So it's a big deal. And you guys, well, why don't you say what was your emotion uh, after winning, and then thinking about the next matchup?
well, Damned I don't know. Damned was kind of telling me don't count all your eggs, or whatever the expression is.
Right.
Don't count all your chickens. What's the expression?
Don't count your eggs before they hatch. Is
Yeah,
that it?
something like that. I mean, he was saying something like that,
Well,
and
Damdai's been, he's obviously been through the battles before,
yeah,
so he was kind of like the voice of experience, I guess.
yeah, he definitely had the wisdom. Because I just, like, there was a higher confidence in me. So after we win the first round, they take us from the seats where we were originally sitting and put us behind, like, this cage, or it's like when you go to Six Flags and right before you get on the ride, there's that bar in front of you, and you're separated from all the other lines.
Yes.
So the winners are placed in that. So we were stuck with, I forget which team, but there were two teams in our, I guess, little caged up thing, and next to us was Mateki's team, and so we saw all the other guys that qualified. At this point, half the teams already went home. Um,
Mm.
so we were awaiting the next match. I'm like, I think we have a good shot, and we can do this, man. We played well, and he goes, nah, don't count all your eggs. Don't check out all your chickens, or whatever you were saying, and
Making many analogies about eggs. This is why you guys lost, because the eggs were just confusing.
the Yoshi's Island, man. I don't
Like, what am I doing with eggs? What's going on? I thought we were playing ST.
know. Yeah, um, so we found out which team we were fighting. We had to do the rock paper scissors deal again to see whose player won. Uh, so we had Damned I do the RPS for the second time to decide who's player one, player two. So he picked I forget which side he wanted, but he just felt more confident with his execution there. And Brendan and I said we're fine with whatever. And then after he had already picked it, He goes, no, wait, I want to change my mind, and they're like, it's too late.
Can't
So
do that.
yeah, like 10 or 15 minutes later, you want to change his mind. Uh, I don't know for what reason. I think he had like some type of mind control over Auto-chan's team. He's like, yes, I have this brilliant idea, but um, yeah. So I didn't want to go up first at that point because it was Gunze who I was most afraid of. He showed up to Hay once and just beat me like 9-1. This guy, his Zangief was just too good, and I felt if they put him first, it would kind of just be a waste of a character. Couldn't
Hmm.
put Damn Dive first because like Old Hawk is one of those special characters you have to save for the right moment. You can't just like, all right, we'll have Old Hawk OCV. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So Brent was really the best pick because Chun Claw is pretty decent for Claw. If they were to send out ARG, Claw Mirror could kind of go either way. Plus, he had fought ARG before that. I mean,
Yep.
all of us fought ARG and Nakano. We all won. So, you know, if they put up ARG against any of us, it was doable. I'm not gonna say that we could have won, but he had the highest win percentage versus Gunze. He actually beat Gunze more than Gunze beat him. So we're like, Immortal's the best pick. He has to do this. So sure enough, they put up Auto Chun. I was hoping for Gunze, put him up first, and eliminate the biggest threat for me at least. Uh, so round one, Brent just like he just did backflips and charged meter like that. That's how he started the round. Super super lame, but smartest. It's the smartest thing to do against someone like Auto Chun.
Right.
So he just played a regular ground game and he won. I think the first attack was like at 60 seconds. It was
Wow.
like it really just played super defensive and charged your meter, kind of testing the waters a little bit. Like who's gonna crack first.
Right.
Immortal played it really well. He won the first round convincingly. I'm like, you know, I just remember looking at him and Damien, I'm like, oh man, he just beat Auto Chun. What the hell's going on? We have a good shot here.
Yeah.
And then round two, he completely switched up his style. Not Auto Chun. Auto Chun did the same thing. He just sat in one corner, Brent sat in the other, and then he goes, forget it, I'm gonna jump in. I'm like, and anytime he went in the air, Auto Chun had a perfect punish, whether it was a wall dive or a jump in or whatever it was. So Auto Chun won round two because Brent, I don't know what he was trying, and I didn't want to talk to him about it. I just figured, you know, he was going for something a little different. I mean, if the formula worked for you, try it, but whatever. We hadn't fought Oda-chan before that, so we didn't know what else to expect. So round three, he uh he starts off with the same formula from round one. Excellent. He charges his meter. He has full meter. He hasn't got hit yet. And then right after he got his meter, he kind of jumped in, and Auto-chan got the punish. I'm like, damn it. Maybe I should have told him don't do that. Because I guess in game you don't really think about all that. You just do. So he wasn't really aware of what he did the whole first round.
Right.
But then Immortal caught on. He goes, all right, that he's gonna play the ground game because you can't go air to air on Chun and
Hmm.
on Auto Chun, not Chun on Auto Chun. Because Immortal was beating up all the Chuns before that, no problem. Well, not no problem, but So it was a close round. Auto Chun won. So I decided, maybe I should go next because Chun Old Hawk is it could be in anyone's favor, I guess. But Chun Dictator is bad for Dictator, but at least Dictator can kind of get in. So I was like,
All right. Plus, you already beat a Chun earlier on.
yeah. So I was hoping, maybe today's my day to beat Chun's only or whatever it is. I mean, Chun was like the second most used character in the tournament. There are like 10 of them, so like whatever. I'll give this a shot. Um, so I hadn't fought Auto Chun before, but the other Chuns I fought, I did decent on. I'd win, I'd lose. There were a couple of Chuns that were just like too good. Other Chuns, you know, I, I was just there. I knew what I was doing. So, um, so I tried my air battle, head stomps, devil's reverse, whatever. And Auto Chun was there for the punish every time. And that's when I realized that his game is the reflex air to air. You can't go in the air against Auto Chun. He's just gonna win. You have to play on the ground. So round one I lost because I was trying my air stuff that works on other Chuns but not him. So round two, I quickly adapted, and I played a ground game, some mix-ups. There are a million tricks I could have done that I didn't do, just didn't think of it at the time. But I
Hmm.
played a much sharper game, and I couldn't believe that I was landing hits on auto-chun and getting close. So I was gonna play a cat and mouse game because I had a huge life lead. Clock was low. Yeah, clock was running low, so I was just gonna win with the clock. That was my plan. There's no point of taking unnecessary risk and losing. So, uh, I try to crush her out of a corner. He stuffs it with jump forward, and then he does a low forward tick throw. So at that point, I'd already reversed through auto chun that round and the first round, like on reaction, reverse throw. There's no point. Like I'm not gonna tech a throw when I know he's gonna throw. So I try to. He went for a low forward throw. I tried to reverse throw it. It failed. I got a tech. I'm like, all right, it's no problem. I still have some clock advantage and life advantage. And then he does another low forward throw, and it beats me because It's the Chun glitch. It's the last throw of the match. It does like 30% damage whether you tech it or not. And then he made a comeback and he won with that.
Right.
So I was like, ah, man, how'd that happen?
That's what we do.
uh,
So you and Immortal almost defeated Auto-chan. You got
well,
very close.
I didn't take off a round, but
Yeah.
you know, we were on Zangief stage, I think, and that stage is faster.
Right.
I think we were on Zangief stage. It was, the pressure was on, especially when you lose your first teammate. You're like, all right, now it's a 2-on-3. And then at the end, it was Damn Die. So I sat down to watch this match, and the same thing. Anytime you went for like a jump jab, Auto Chun had the air to air punish.
Hmm.
So it's pretty hard to just adjust in one round and decide, all right, I can't jump on this Chun like I can on the other. So he just went air to air. He just went air to air and beat our whole team with that.
Right. All right. So you guys were eliminated in the second round. What were your feelings after the tournament? Were you satisfied with your performance? Were you upset? What was going on?
The most upset person actually was Fred. He kind of put his head down. I thought he was gonna cry, and he goes, "You guys should have done better, man," or something like that.
You
You
still did very well, though.
yeah, but I
It's
mean,
just it's an emotional journey. I understand that.
yeah, it really. I just remember I was sitting down, like, man, I can't believe it's over that fast. I mean,
Yeah.
it felt like from the first match that I played against Chai's Chun to Damn Dai's match against Auto Chun, that was all like 5 or 10 minutes. You know,
Yeah. It's a fast game.
like I'm like, damn, just 5 minutes ago we won a set, and now it's like we got to go home pretty much.
Yep. Single elimination. I mean, and you look at the journey you guys took. It's definitely a lot of emotion that gets involved because you flying to first of all practicing for years, uh, joining the up with the Don't Blow This guys, playing and working hard,
The dark side.
joining the dark side, yes. All the studying, going to Nashville, Tennessee, winning a tournament that was difficult to win, more preparation, going to Japan, playing in all those arcades, and then it all comes together in these one couple batches,
Yeah, really, we traveled, like 7,000 miles or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty tough, and like even the results of that tournament, it just showed that the matchups, anything can happen at any given time. Anyone can win. We had just as much chance as anybody else there. Even if some people's skill level are higher, it's like we made it out of the first round, whereas other top tier teams, with the strongest guys, half of them got eliminated
Yeah.
when we succeeded to the next round.
And the team that defeated you actually got second place. Is that correct?
Yeah, they made it to the final round of grand finals, and Auto Chun, the guy that OCV'd us, he lost to Oka Fei.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So in 2010, the U.S. national team got to the second round, and they lost to the team that got first place. And then this year, 2011, you guys got to the second round and lost to the team that got second place. So kind of like a debate is starting up now, and people are saying, uh, that the U.S. is closer to the Japanese as far as being on the same level of play. And then, of course, there's people saying that's not true. Where do you stand on this argument after experiencing all this stuff?
Well, all right. In Japan, there's no best player. There are guys who are grandmasters like Kurohashi, Oto-chan, Mateki, Daigo when he used to play a lot. I mean, he's still super strong, but they're grandmasters, but there's no real like best player, best team. Anyone can win at any time. When we played at Mikado all night, there would be like Matsun would have a 3-win streak. Then let's say Hakase takes him down. Hakase would win 3 matches. Shiro would take him down. There was no best player. And then eventually it came to the point where even when we got to the arcades, like after training for a whole week with these guys, Damdai would have a couple win streak, he'd lose, and I would have a few wins. Not to say that we're at the same level, but there's a certain point where no one, not one person will be better than the other. Maybe you can excel in some matchups, but the gap, the gap in skill level just thins down a lot.
Right.
So are we close to Japanese level? Um, it's still a learning experience. I must have learned like 20 new things with Dictator in like
Hmm.
2 days. So I think the gap is coming more nearer. It's definitely
Right.
been minimized. Maybe by next year, if hopefully they have uh Grandmaster Challenge at Tougeki and top 3 players from here qualify.
Right.
You know, I think we have a good shot
All right.
for that.
Let me ask you this: do you feel that over the last 10 years, Americans have actually improved greatly because of things like GGPO, Supercade, being able to play all different matchups online, and also because of YouTube and being able to just easily, access matchups or matches, on your phone or whatever you have now.
Oh
So
yeah.
do you feel that these things have led to Americans improving, and do you feel that Americans are actually better than they've ever been in this game?
Absolutely. I remember actually before even SRK forums, there were guys. What was it? I think Julian Beasley. He would travel to Japan and come back with that knowledge, like whatever he learned from there, and people like Seth Killian would discuss it here, and that's how people got better because there weren't videos back then,
Hmm.
no YouTube, and no online play. You couldn't play Japanese, so at the time, the best way to get the knowledge was to actually go there firsthand and learn who these players were and what they do and bring it back here. But now with, you know, I guess just what we have now, it's so much easier to level up. I mean, you can like even Mars, he kind of just got super good at one point and he was just winning or ranking high in tournaments and he's a really strong player and he hadn't been playing that long. I think anyone who's dedicated can do that. They can just come out. I mean, even myself, you know I mean, I've been playing for a while, but it was a lot from videos and being able to play online that I learned what I learned. So
Yeah.
it definitely it helps out a lot. Yeah.
Okay. What do you feel about the statement? If I was to say, at a high level in this game, any character can win. You think that's accurate or wrong?
No, it's accurate. It's one hit can change the game. Any character can win. In Japan, I don't really think they think about tier lists. They have a tier list, but it's more about one person. Like if you get 2 or 3 good reads in a round, you win the round. And then if you do that again, you win the match. Like here's a perfectly good example. At SBO, we were watching Moteki versus Yoshimura, and Yoshimura's team, they already knew Moteki was getting sent out first because he usually gets sent out first. So it's Yoshimura Delsum against Moteki Gal, which is pretty tough match for Gal. But even in our situation here with you and Mars, you played so much that just one good read or two can put Gal
Right.
can kind of give him the edge. So but Teki beat him on stage or whatever on at SBO. Super tough match, only because of those 2 or 3 good reads. They don't think about the tier list. If Yoshimura's team knew that Moteki was going first, then Moteki must have known that they're sending Yoshimura first, and he was still confident in the match. He's beaten so many awesomes because they don't think about that. They just think about I'm gonna outsmart the other player and perform my best in the given moment, and that's what happened.
Right. Okay, so I have one final question for you, but before we get to that, I just want to ask you if you have anything else to add about Japan or your Japanese, Japan experience or anything else you want to throw in the pot before we get to the end here.
Before I smoke some pot. Uh,
Oh, easy there, dude. This is a kid-friendly show.
oh yeah, yeah. Rated
Okay.
G.
Yes.
Um, well, let's see. I guess, if you haven't gone to Japan, you should go. It's really fun. Even if whether you're gonna play the game or not, it's a really different world. It's a world, yeah, but
What the-
that's my advice for you. No, uh, I don't know. I'm not good at closing words. Well, I guess
Well,
huge
is there any
thanks. Well,
more sense of like, is there any other things you experienced there that you want to
oh,
express, or things you learned, or anything you want to talk about?
well, just the arcade scene. It's really you feel more welcome. Like when we were there, those guys really took care of us, and you
Right.
know,
It's
they
friendly atmosphere.
yeah, super friendly. None of that raging stuff. There was never any problem. One person screamed at another for anything. I mean, you play online, that stuff happens all the time, and that's all very cool. But I don't think it should be like that. Everyone should just be cool and try to learn. I mean, I guess like I'll talk to guys over here, and their criticisms will be that no one wants to share their secrets. So when it comes time for tournament, that's when they like reveal their secret in game just so they can win the match.
Right.
Whereas if they kind of shared those secrets then, like how we did in Dictator Dalsin matchups, we become better players because now, gimmicks 101 won't work. You have to, you know, go to 102 or 103. You have to kind of like excel and do something entirely different. So those guys, they're free to share their opinions and their strategies, and that's why they're so good. To them, it's more about they have to constantly challenge themselves and be better.
Hmm.
I don't think we're at that level over here. Well, like the majority of us, where it's like, all right, we're gonna, tell each other and share our thoughts and be friendly about it.
Right.
So I would say that Japan didn't have any of that, like anger or whatever.
Yeah. It's a very different environment. Um, they're just happy competing with each other, and
Yeah,
it's not about, oh, I have to win, and I have to, and if I lose it, I have to, now my ego's hurt, and I have to insult this person or anything like that.
yeah, yeah.
Um, what do you feel is the future of this game, and what is the future of Super Turbo?
I mean, it's definitely not dying over there. I just hope that they have it next year at Tougeki and, they continue to do their X Manias and Mikado every week and whatever they do. I mean, even in the U.S., it's definitely there's been a revival. It's come back,
Yeah,
thanks to, you guys over at Don't Blow This and,
a lot of people doing a lot of work to revitalize the game, and now it's at pretty much, many tournaments a month, multiple tournaments a month all over the
yeah,
country.
definitely. I mean, like just 2 or 3 years ago, it was Nothing But HD Remix, which probably also still contributed to the revival of ST, maybe, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
because it definitely brought in a lot more players, which is good.
Right.
Um, I think for the future of ST, I think there's a good future for it if they're still running tournaments for it. I think, well, I don't want to say anything, but at NEC there might be, a huge ST thing going on, and
There's a lot of tournaments, many tournaments coming up. And there has been for all of 2011. So
so,
it's definitely on the upswing.
and I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a couple of guys that's coming out and using random characters that aren't used that much and just do
Yeah,
really good with them. I can see something like that happening real soon.
yeah. We spoke about this earlier, but like, guys like you and Mars definitely have destroyed all the tier lists and things that American players pretty much like swore by, and in many ways these things hold them back because there's people that don't even really play the game that much or know a lot about the game, but they have these charts and they go, oh, this is viable, and this character can't beat that character and things like that. Um, but I think you guys shown that if you put in the work and give yourself the education, then you can overcome all these things.
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at Old Hawk, I feel like at this point there's still a lot of people who aren't comfortable with the matchup, they don't really understand it because there haven't been many T-Hawk players in the U.S. So it's like
Right.
we've reached a point where you
Well, the
have
game's
to.
like evolving. The game's
Yeah,
changing after all this time.
yeah. I
You know.
mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, even over in Japan, they're still coming up with new techniques for everybody, and it's always going to be evolving. Hopefully, it's going in the right direction here now, which should definitely I can see it happening now, and you know,
Right.
within a couple of months, we'll have a whole bunch of like a whole group of other players coming by, and
You just gotta keep playing.
yeah,
All right. So I have one final question for you. You can
okay.
answer it however you like. But let's say there's a 17-year-old that plays Super Street Fighter 4 or Marvel vs. Capcom 3. He plays online, and they let you watch a lot of streams and things like that. Why should this person play or get involved in offline Super Turbo?
Uh, the family part. The Super Turbo family, we're a real family. We it's just fun. I don't want to badmouth any of the other games.
Yeah.
I have to find the right wording. I I guess Super Turbo is the origin. Um, it doesn't matter how old you are. Like the guys over there, you have like there was one point where Chojin was fighting Aniken, and Chojin's like 18, Aniken's maybe in his 30s. It doesn't matter your age, and they're at the same skill level. They both have the same love for the game, even though one's been playing it for as long as the other's been alive. It's like I think I think that kind of challenges you more too, Super Turbo. But see, now I'm kind of like indirectly saying bad things about the other games. God.
Well, it's obviously that you're biased towards it because you played the game so much. But what would this person get out of playing the game? Like, not necessarily. Not even. We're not even saying they have to stop playing the other games.
Right,
But
right.
if they were to say, "I'm going to play Super Turbo. I'm going to go on offline events," what are they missing out now? And what would they get out of doing that?
Oh, that's a good question. What are they missing out on? It's just the simple dynamics of the game. Right? It's so simplified where a three hit combo is more significant than that 110 hit or a Street Fighter 4 25 hit combos that you would do, and the execution is made harder for a reason. I just feel like kind of tests you a little bit more, Super Turbo, and it's more rewarding when you can play that with finesse and be able to keep up with guys that are at your level or a higher level, and just there's more room for leveling up and stuff like that. I feel like, and
Extremely,
that's the
extremely intense game.
yeah, yeah, that too. It's so fast. A round could be over in like 15 seconds. Oh, I guess Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is the same way. All right, I can't come up with the best examples right now, but uh, hmm.
All right, how about this? Say somebody wants to get into the game. What are the steps they should take to get involved? What are things they could do?
You have to get the right setup. If you can't get what's closest to it. So if you can't get a super gun, then play on emulator. Do what you have to do. Get a couple of guys together in your area that are interested in gaming. Um, because when you have more people to play, that's the quickest way in learning about the game. Because everyone will specialize in that one or two characters or whatever they pick, and that's how you learn. Then you join the forums, you talk with the guys, play them online, and just
Do
run
you recommend certain videos for someone to watch?
yeah, you watch. Let's see. You can for Japanese videos, you watch. They're one of many tournaments. They have the Star Cup tournaments. They have Tougeki, X Mania. They run so many tournaments that you can easily find on YouTube. It's not that hard, or you can buy the X Mania DVDs, whatever you need to do. Um, for the US, ST is streamed almost every other week in Connecticut, so it's not that hard to find it.
And of
Um,
course, you got a GGPO Supercade to play for free.
Yeah, or you can play for free on there. You can spectate matches. There's a lot of cool guys on there. It's no problem. So I guess yeah, the first thing you gotta just get the right setup, get comfortable with it, meet the guys, just play, and then you have to just keep playing. And if you're really into the game, you'll feel a lot better about getting good at it, and the things that you might discover that other people don't know yet, and kind of have to adapt to and figure out a counter for. And that's one of the coolest parts about the game. There's always something else that you didn't know. Like, and it changes up the match so much.
Right. All right, right on, man. I think it's pretty good. We did almost 2 hours worth of audio. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, you're gonna have a
Um,
fun time editing, I think.
it's not too bad. But do you have any like things to plug, like a YouTube or anything like that, Twitter, anything you want to throw out there
Um,
for
Plug.
people? Yeah, anything?
Well, I'll plug Fred's blog.
Okay.
So curryology.blogspot.com for all your Super Turbo updates. Dontblowthis.com. Join the forums in case you haven't. Pretty sure a lot of you guys did. Or, well, if you haven't, just do it. Uh, let's see. And then there are a million people I need to thank. I guess
How about
not.
tea? Your tea that you drink?
Oh, Ito green tea. Drink it all the time with some honey sometimes. I finished my cup already. I'm still a little hyped from it. It's pretty good. Yeah, that's kind of like all I drank in Japan. That and this thing called Pocari Sweat, which is really good.
Wow. Okay.
Did you have Pocari Sweat when you were out there?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, it was the best thing ever. It's like this it's a vitamin water basically,
Huh.
but
Okay.
but it's good for you.
I had a lot of the juices like that came out of the vending machines,
Yeah,
like
they're
like
all
a
still
hay and
good.
stuff. Yeah, very good.
That is
A lot
Dragon
of
Ball Z.
sugar, I think,
Uh,
but
do you have the Dragon Ball Z energy drink?
no, I did not.
That was pretty cool. All right, all right, so do I get to say thanks to people?
Yeah, go ahead. Say whatever you want, dude.
Shit, I need
It's a
to
live mic. Say whatever you want.
blah blah blah. All right, damn. Well, I guess shit. I wasn't really prepared to. There's so many people, man. It's like even when I started playing online, the first guy that I played in ST online was Brent of all people, Immortal,
Wow.
and then he turned out to
Interesting.
be my teammate. Yeah, 'cause
Wow.
I used to play Champion Edition. He goes, stop playing that old game, play ST, and he was the
But
first
the
guy
game
that I
is two
played.
years newer.
Yeah, he goes, play that, and I was doing Honda's Ochiotro. I'm like, wow, you're so much better in this game. And and then Namra, who he's I guess directing or producing or doing whatever for his season's meetings.
Yeah.
So the three of us, we played a lot of ST. So they kind of, I guess they really like nurtured my gameplay, and then playing you offline. And do you remember that one tournament where I was like, I had to go up against you. I'm like, who should I use, Dictator or Honda?
Yeah, I do remember. I don't know why you would ask me, the person you're playing, what character you should use. So I'm obviously going to tell you the one that's easier, that I feel more comfortable with. But it's that.
You were like, you should use Honda. You're more sharp with them tonight. So I'm like, all right, cool. And then he just beat me like 2 or 3 zip or whatever it was. Like,
I do remember that. Strange.
so thanks for like, you know,
For cheating you?
yeah, and
Okay.
make me want my comeback eventually with my rightful character. And
Maybe that's what had to happen. Like I made you pick Honda, so you would decide not to ever use him again.
yeah, I think after that, I maybe use them 1 or 2 more times. I'm like, forget this, and I switch to Dictator and almost full time.
Right.
So, Fred, who really, I gotta thank him for the whole trip, and he's really the one who really pushed me into the whole ST thing, made me come to Chinatown Fair. He made Damn Died a Monster,
Yeah.
and
He really like nurtured all the New York players.
yeah, he kept it
He really
alive.
did.
So him, without him,
It's
the,
kind of, I think it's very funny that he went with you guys to Tougeki because he kind of like brought you into the scene, and he also kind of brought Danda into the scene as well.
it was a good perfect circle, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Poetic, I guess.
Yeah, and on top of that, he played really well against the Japanese. So it was like he didn't go there just for us. He did his thing out there too.
Well, he's used to that, like that arcade, high pressure arcade situation. He's been in those situations many times, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is weird,
Chinatown.
and he doesn't really play anymore. So it's kind of
Well, like, back in the day, and he was the Chinatown Beast, so
yeah.
maybe revitalized the old Freddy.
Back from the dead, Elm Street Freddy.
Yes.
Yeah. So and Howard. with that setup, I wouldn't have learned anything really. It was that setup and him
Yeah.
allowing us to come over and play and bother him all those times. I still haven't had a chance to thank him in person, like properly.
Right.
Anytime we go, I'm like, yeah, thanks, man, cool, and then we talk about other stuff. But definitely Howard. Thanks a lot for even
Right.
pushing me and mentally keeping me on point with other stuff and
Yeah, he's
you
great.
and Mars and Arthur and there's just so many freaking people, man. uh,
Yeah, man. It's the family. So
I mean, you all, everybody knows, who you are. So
we're all having fun. That's the most important thing.
yeah, so I hope we can continue and
Yeah, I think it's next for us is we're gonna be probably streaming within the next couple of weeks. Hopefully, you get down and just keep on keeping on. And I want to thank you for joining and doing this with us.
thanks for having me, the interviews, the podcast this is, and
Yeah, thanks to the people listening to this thing.
yeah, thank you guys too, John Rambo, John freaking Rambo.
So
Peace.
that's it. Thank you for listening to Genre Presents, the best in free and optional entertainment. Thank you.